Welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith, here with Gerald Bourget, Espo, and Saul Bookman. Gentlemen, happy Monday. How was your weekend? Everyone feeling good?
Not too bad.
Okay. I don't remember it, so that's either good or bad. I don't know. It's fine.
Why don't you remember it?
Too many OGs, 4 peaks, or just super uneventful?
Since COVID, I don't remember anything that isn't significant anymore.
That's fair. That is fair. So I feel like we have to start the show on a little bit of a down note. Obviously, pay our respects to the late, great Bill Russell. May he rest in peace, and our condolences, of course, to all of his friends and family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, listen, Bill Russell, I don't think it can even be disputed that he is probably the winningest or the greatest champion in sport, period. 11-time world champion, 5-time MVP. He won 11 championships in the NBA in 13 seasons. Just an unbelievable person. And on top of that, he won 2 NCAA championships, a gold medalist, all doing it in the 50s and 60s in the height of racism here in this country, when a lot of black people were just being treated completely unfairly. And he played in a city. Listen, when he played for the Boston Celtics in the 50s and 60s, they wouldn't even sell out because so many people did not want to support people like him. They didn't want to support a black player like that. And we're talking about one of the greatest athletes of all time. Like, he just was a tremendous person. His civil rights activism was stellar. He supported Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali didn't want to be drafted because of the abuse and the racism here in the country. Just a tremendous individual who represented himself and his sport the very best he could, and the world lost a tremendous human being. So, our thoughts and prayers obviously to him and his family over this. I don't even want to say it's a sad day. I think it's a celebratory moment to really recognize the greatness of an individual like Bill Russell. I got to see him once in my entire life, and it was right before COVID. It was at the Suns Arena, and I didn't even realize it was him until he was like neck to neck with me, and it was like immediately, like I just like lost my bearings. Like I couldn't even talk. Like, I couldn't even think, because it was like greatness was right here, right next to me. And when somebody like that is next to you, you can feel it. Like, you understand and you really revere how amazing that person was.
Yeah, he's one of the rare people that you look at his basketball career, and obviously he's an all-time legend, all-time great, and then you look at what he was able to do off the court, and he's somehow an even greater human being and just important figure in our country's history, regardless of sports or not. And to be the person that he was, you saw on Twitter so many people paying their respects, talking about how he had this infectious laugh and how he could just easily light up a room. And for him to be that type of person, despite the discrimination that he faced, despite the hatred that he faced, because I think his daughter wrote a while back about the time that their house was burglarized and what people wrote on the walls and what they did to their belongings. And it's disgusting. And it's remarkable that he was able to not only achieve what he did on the court despite all that, but give it back as far as his civil rights work, as far as just the loving and embracive human being that he was. It's incredible, and we definitely lost an all-time great human being.
Yeah, and he never let any of that silence his voice. I mean, he was always out there even till the end. I mean, he was standing up for players' rights, and during the Black Lives Matter stuff, he was out there at the forefront well into his 80s. So that was a man that lived by his convictions, and he was also, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he was the first African-American head coach in the league as well.
First black coach and first player coach in the NBA, and won a championship as the first one too. Just unbelievable. Great man, did a lot for the game, but did a lot for humanity, which was more important. So,
and from here on out, all we can do is be thankful that we got to witness him in our lifetime, and just keep his name and his movements and all the things that he did that were good for us alive in our own actions day to day. All right, let's move on to some Suns basketball talk here. We've got a packed show for you guys today. Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, Kevin Durant, all the things.
I love every morning when Lindsay's like, so what are we going to talk about today? And inevitably, as soon as she says that, all these things happen on Twitter. We're like, well, I guess we got a show.
That's it. That's what we're talking about. We're going to start with Cam Johnson, though, because this past weekend he hosted a basketball tournament, and our very own Gerald Bourguet was there, and he got to speak with Cam about all of the offseason things. So, Gerald, where would you like to start with this one?
Yeah, there was a lot, because he talked to us for like 12 minutes, and I know that doesn't sound like much, but for people like in an interview, that's a lot of time.
4 hours in real time.
It's a lot of transcribing too, but no, he talked about a lot of things, and he was very upfront and honest about the offseason that he's been having. And the first thing, we'll play this clip, but I did ask him about, first and foremost, how are you feeling about contract extension talks? Because when we had last talked to him at JaVale McGee's charity event, he had mentioned, when I had asked him then, he was saying, well, they've got higher priorities right now. The DA thing is obviously going to be their first item on the agenda. Now that that's taken care of, I asked him, where do you kind of feel those talks are right now? And this is what he had to say.
In a good spot. There's a lot of things to the business side of things, and what I've learned is that the business side will do what's best for the business side, and the personal side will do what's best for the personal side. The team will do what's best for them, and the players do what's best for them. And so that, I'm always highly aware of that. But at the same time, I do love being here. So if we can get something done, I'd love it.
Yeah, so basically saying what we figured he would say. He would love to get something worked out, but he's fully cognizant of the fact that there's other stuff going on right now that the Suns are focused on. And I thought it was interesting how honest he was about hearing trade rumors. He walked us through where he was when he first heard the trade rumors. He was at North Carolina in the locker room. He was playing with some of the guys there. His little brother goes to UNC, obviously. And he was telling the guys, like, come on, man, leave my name out of that. Like, don't bring me into that. And then next thing he knows, he's in all of these trade rumors. But I'm kind of curious your guys' thoughts. If you were a player and you were just kind of trying to enjoy your offseason and your name gets thrown into trade rumors, how would you take it? Because I know how he responded as far as how he's internalizing it, but how would it affect you?
It's a business. I mean, that's part of it. And I would rather have it sound like teams want me and find me desirable to be a part of one of the biggest trades in NBA history than not, because really everybody knows there's one untouchable here, and his name's Devin Armani Booker. And outside of that, other guys are available at the right price. So I don't think I'd let it bother me because I know it's part of what goes on in an offseason.
I don't believe you. Don't get offended. I'm just saying, offended. Like, I don't believe you because, like, my guy Espo, and I love you, is the most anxious person in the world. If he got a hint that he was going to be traded, he would worry about it.
Yeah,
he would.
Why would I worry about it? I'd be going to Brooklyn, one of the greatest.
I think it would be situational. I think it would be different. Yeah. Like, for instance, if Espo was getting traded, and the place he was going was going to be a better situation, or they wanted him, it wasn't that whoever had him now was trying to get a bigger piece. I think, yeah, that's a great situation to go to. You want to be wanted, right?
If I heard rumors I was going to OKC or Detroit, I'd have problems.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
But like, Brooklyn, I'm like, hey,
I think that's how I feel. Is like, if I'm getting traded to a place where they want me, right? They're trading a whole bunch of bags of chips, and I get to go there because I'm the piece that they're missing, right? I'm the piece that they think is going to put them over the top. I think that's a much more desirable, and I can deal with that. But if I'm like, just a throw-in,
right?
It's a little tougher to deal with at that point. You know what I mean?
I feel like just as a human being, if you were like a piece of a trade, like if you were one of two players going out in a trade and one player is coming back, you're kind of just like, oh, okay. So there's two of us going out and one person coming back. That's kind of messed up.
Cash considerations? Like, man. What has cash considerations ever done for you, man?
A lot if you're this franchise.
I would be so stressed. The whole time, because regardless of the situation, just the logistics of having to move your whole life and start new, and you don't know the people I would be so stressed.
Lindsay,
I would hate it.
It's a lot easier when you have millions of dollars.
Even if you have millions of dollars, though, like it's not like Cam is not on the same level as like a Devin or a KD, and moving to New York, even with millions of dollars, you're not trying to lose all your millions of dollars by paying rent.
Right.
That's fair.
Like,
that's why I buy if I'm him,
But what are you going to buy? A box?
I'm going to buy an 800 square foot apartment.
Okay, let's just say all four of us, right? We were making multi-million-dollar contracts, right? Mm-hmm. Do we even care? Like, if Gerald was making $230 million, and I was making 10. Do I even care how much he's making? I don't care. And if he gets traded for me, like I don't give a shit about that. Like I still got traded. And on top of that, I think I'm every bit as good as him. Like that's what NBA players feel. Like Cam Johnson feels like, I'm sure he feels like, though he understands why KD would be a big deal, I'm sure he still feels like I'm not that far off.
Yeah, look, I don't care. If I were a player, I wouldn't care. I'd only care about guys in my own zip code. Like, how much did Mikal get in his extension? That's how much I want, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm not caring how much KD makes or anything like that. And you're right. They think, hey, I'm a few steps below that, but I could blossom wherever. So I get it.
Right. And in another response, he did touch on the kind of other things that people don't think about when it comes to guys being traded, like just the logistics of moving to another city, especially if you've never lived there, of if you have a family or a significant other or whatever, and you're uprooting from Phoenix to Brooklyn in this example. Like, I know that if you have money, they're less of an inconvenience than they would be to people like us, but it's still something that like he likes being here. Like he likes being in Phoenix. He was talking about how the best part is when he gets off the plane from a road trip. He gets to like, okay, jacket comes off. I don't have to scrape ice off my car. Like I love the weather here. I love living here. And those are things that we kind of take for granted because we've been here for so long and because no one's trying to trade us to like CHGO or DNVR.
I'm sorry, Gerald, I'm sorry, but
not like this. But let's hear what Cam had to say about how he feels about hearing himself in trade rumors.
Is that stuff? I don't think. Are you hearing Twitter? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, how much does it actually allow you to stay away from it?
I think it still is everywhere, right? But I hear all the rumors. I know all the rumors, and like I said, the team will do what they think is best for them, and the players will do what they think is best for them. And, as much as you like love a place or whatever, it's just the reality of the business that you always have to be aware of, and I'm okay with that, and I can handle that.
Yeah, so he's very much, as far as your response is concerned, he's aware it's a business, and I think he's approaching it that way. But it's hard to separate yourself from that and kind of take a step back and be like, okay, I hear what everyone's saying about me. I'm just going to put my head down and try to keep getting better because that's really all I can do. Because I know for a fact if it was me, I would be a nervous wreck. I would be like, man, I'd be so down on myself. And like, oh man, they're trading me. Like,
I would literally text my agent every day. Hey, so what's going on?
Oh any truth? No? Okay.
Any truth to this? Yeah. But I kind of applaud him for that. And he mentioned that like he's experienced this firsthand. He was talking about how close he was to Tyler Johnson during his rookie season, and Tyler Johnson just got waived. And then he grew close with Ty Jerome who was a rookie in his same draft class, and then Ty Jerome gets traded a couple months after that. So he's fully aware of this. He's seen it in action before.
Friends with Cam Johnson is what you're saying?
Mikhail.
Oh, no.
Oh man, that's tough. But yeah, he was talking about how he's experienced this before. It's kind of internalized for him because he's, even in his 3 years in the league, he's seen a lot of turnover on this very same roster. But I kind of liked how he applied it to other aspects, because it's not just the trade rumors he's had to hear. It's the criticism as far as, okay, we need more ball dominant players. We need Cam to be able to go out and get a bucket. And he kind of touched on that directly. And he was saying, like, I've been ball dominant until basically college. Like, that's who I used to be. And now it's a matter of what he's working on this offseason is trying to get some of that back. He was like, hoopers know if you don't practice something, you lose it. But then once you start to practice it again, you remember, and it comes back very quickly. So he was talking about how over the summer he's had workouts here, he's had workouts back at home, where he spent hours just focusing on, ball dominant stuff, on little bits of footwork that he can perfect, and like not moving on to the next thing until he gets that right. And that's kind of a benefit of this long offseason that we've had, is they didn't have long off seasons his first 2 years. They were super short.
Didn't have any off season in reality. Yeah.
And that's what we talked about, though. We talked about the need for Cam and Mikhail specifically to take their game to another level, because the last 2 seasons we've been bounced because they couldn't find that third guy consistently enough. And Cam, I feel like, has given us the bigger glimpse offensively of that. I mean, the game against the Knicks and the buzzer beater, like, that was a glimpse of what Cam Johnson could potentially do moving forward and being a key piece. So when people talk about, listen, if they don't get KD, you need this core 4 to be just like what the Warriors have been with their core group. Like, you need that to happen, and the only way that happens is if they add tricks to their bag to get better and better and better. Even Devin Booker, he's got to. The great ones always try to find something to add to their game. Something, even if it's a small thing, that small thing could end up being a huge part of their game moving forward. And I'm so excited to hear that Cam's doing that.
Well, we've seen that, though, in his first few years. He's improved each step of the way. Even from the COVID break to the bubble, we saw an improvement from Cam. So if he's on this roster, I definitely think he'll be one of those guys to step up offensively. And like you said, Saul, we've seen a lot of flashes of that, especially when Cam goes off the dribble towards the rack. I mean, we've seen some moves there that's the kind of guy that can get it done. I don't want to see him gone, because I want to see what that next step looks like in purple and orange. Is Lindsay dying over there or something?
My foot fell asleep.
She's over here shaking her leg off.
My whole leg is tingling. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I want to see Cam's evolution here in Phoenix, because I think he's ready to take that next offensive step, and I'm glad to hear he's been focusing on that killer instinct portion of it.
Well, and it's good to see him talk himself up too a little bit. Like, Cam is a very humble guy who always gives pretty thoughtful answers, but sometimes you have to talk yourself up a little bit as well and make sure everyone knows exactly what you're doing behind the scenes, especially when you've got an extension on the line and a lot of money that you're hoping to get, whether it's from the Suns or whomever. You still want to share that information and let teams know, hey, I'm working on these very specific things that are going to make my game more valuable to whoever it is. So.
Yeah, and that was what was impressive to me, is at 26 years old, he hears the trade rumors, he hears people saying you need to get better at this, this, and this. But he was saying, like, as a basketball player, I kind of separate myself from that because I know the game well. And so when somebody brings up a valid point, I can just separate myself from it, take the personal side out of it and be like, okay, yeah, I see your point. But he did say, like, I know what I'm capable of. There are only a few people in the world that know what I'm capable of. And so I think he's excited to kind of build on that, whether it's here in Phoenix or whether it's here somewhere else. And he did also have another good quote about the trade rumors, if we want to pull up that graphic. The NBA is an entertaining league, and right now it's been an entertaining offseason. So grab your popcorn. I don't know what's going to happen. It could be a lot of things. He's very much like invested in how entertaining the NBA offseason is. It's kind of funny.
I love that we chose the photo of Cam being quite dejected, looking down sadly. And
Yo, we've had so much popcorn over the last few months. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I need to move on to
Oh,
something else.
I want all the popcorn.
We have all the
Yeah.
popcorn.
please just keep it coming. It makes these long off seasons at least entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
so much,
could you imagine if we had nothing to talk about right now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We could be breaking down what shoes Jacques Landell will be wearing this year or something.
Oh,
Are we not
I
going to
mean,
do that?
this,
But that's
I
later.
thought that was
That's
for next
later
week.
in August.
Okay.
Isn't that on the schedule for next week? Yeah, so lots of good stuff from Cam Johnson. It was good to finally hear from him as well. It's always far and few in between during the summer months that players are even in town, let alone available to.
I've heard
speak.
like 6 or 7 guys daily have been down there in the gym throughout the summer. Like it's some rotating, but there's been a fairly full house out there. So guys are out there working. They know what this season means coming up.
No, I mean, in the offseason never stops. I mean, you're looking on, if you just look on social and across the country, like there's pro-ams going on all over the place, up in Seattle with Crawford, and then you got the Drew League. And I mean, players, hey, listen, ballers love the ball. And I know there's this big thing about, wearing yourself down during the season and having a truncated offseason, but these guys put in work year round. They might take a few weeks off or a few days off here and there, but listen, it's in you. Like you can't help yourself. You just love to go out there and play. And that's what makes these guys so great.
It's all Gatorade. It's in you.
I don't know why my left eye is tearing up, but it was emotional talking about it.
Low key though, writing that article, if you want to read more about Cam Johnson, what he had to say, it's on Go PHNX. But writing that article,
No, it's not if you want to. You need to.
It's self-hype. Go read it on Go PHNX.
Yes.
Become a member because Gerald does that kind of work that you need to be reading.
But it was emotional a little bit reading some of the things that he had to say, because this was his first time being able to host this tournament. He did it last year near where he lives in Pittsburgh. And this was kind of the first off-season, non-pandemic times, height of pandemic, that he was able to do this kind of event. And he was talking about how things like this, like the lemonade stand, have brought him closer to the fans, the city itself. Like this is his second home now. And so he's aware that, if they can trade for KD and he's involved in it, it's going to happen. But you can tell he's proud of what they've been able to build since he arrived in the Valley, being part of this team's turnaround and just creating that relationship with the organization, his teammates, the fans, all of that. So he's always been a great interview. He's always been upfront. But if he is traded, I will definitely miss his kind of candor and just his personality in general, and aside from his 3-point shooting.
You will lose some of the human side with this team if you lose Cam and or Mikhail. I mean, we saw Mikhail out at the Vine. You see
Right.
Cam with this in the community. If those guys are a centerpiece of some kind of deal this offseason or in the near future, it will change the dynamic of this group, because those guys are a special kind of guy in the community and in the locker room. So it will change things. You just got to wonder, how does it work? Does the chemistry get a little off if you do that? Because that's been a huge part of what this team's been able to do, and the change in culture is the chemistry. Those guys have seemed like a big part of it the last 2 years.
Well, we shall see how everything kind of shakes out, and things are getting closer and closer as we speak. I cannot believe it is August 1st.
I know.
Like,
we're sick.
outrageous. I
7
can't
weeks
believe
away
it.
from camp.
We're so close. We're getting
7
there.
weeks.
It's so crazy. And that means, though, that there are futures bets available right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you are starting to try and figure out what you think this upcoming season is going to look like for specific players or teams throughout the league, right now is a really good time to get on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But when you download it and sign up, make sure you use that code PHNX, because after you make your first deposit, you're going to get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's from the code PHNX, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. I made some money last year on a futures bet for Monty Williams being the coach of the year,
Nice.
which was kind of nice.
How
So
much?
I think I put one of my, because I had a free bet when I signed up.
So
I think I put $25 on it, and I think I made like $250,
Nice.
something like that. So a couple
Solid.
pairs of shoes.
I got my eye on Suns Clippers Western Conference Finals. Last I
Okay.
looked at it, I think it was like plus 1,100,
Okay.
and I'm like, that's almost worth putting some money
Well,
down
if you
on.
have a free bet too, it's nice because you're not really losing
Risk-free.
that money if you don't hit on that bet. So again, that's $1,000 risk-free bet that's up for grabs right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Use that promo code, please.
Lots over and over and over again.
Let's get into the juicy stuff of today. It's time for some
Oh, yes.
screenshots presented by Arizona Department of Health Services. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov/findvaccine for a location near you. So today's screenshots, most of them are going to be a something, nothing, or everything type of situation. And of course, we are going to start off with Jay Crowder. So earlier today, he tweeted, "Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. I believe it's time for a change. I want to continue growing." So this was the start of the internet sleuths and checking all the things. Espo, do you want to share the other things we found?
I would have said nothing, but then I went to Jay Crowder's website and I found this. "A new journey lies ahead" is one of the images, main images there.
Okay.
And then I looked at what tweets Jay had liked recently. And the first one was a report. This was today. He liked this tweet from June 30th, a report that there's rumors that he might be a PJ Tucker replacement in Miami. And then an hour later, he liked a tweet about potentially him going to Dallas. So either he's trolling the hell out of people and he had a bad breakup or something, which was the original tweet, or something is going on here.
Oh, something's going on for sure. For sure. I think maybe, okay, so we just talked about Cam dealing with trade rumors and stuff like that. Maybe Jay had a bad day at the day club and he was just like, you know what? I'm done. It was a little too hot. I'm kind of done with this whole relationship. I think I'm ready for somewhere where the Summers don't try to kill me. So, yeah, I think it's everything. I think Jay Crowder probably signaling that he wants out, or maybe he's heard that he's going to be on his way out, or that he's been told that he will be part of a piece to try and get other pieces in here. So, like, hey, that is just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's
what it
definitely
is.
something, because you can't ignore the fact that he's liking tweets for two different teams, both of which he's played for in the past. But at the same time, I am leaving the door open for it to be nothing, because it could. These guys are very well aware that we follow all
We
of
need a
this
writing
stuff.
fence.
Yeah, every
They're-
We need
single
a writing
movement.
fence graphic.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like, it could be nothing if he's trolling us. I'm not ruling that out entirely.
Well,
Jay's
at
not
first,
a trolling type, though.
He's not.
Yes, he is.
He wore the FJ Crowder
That's
shirt
fair.
at a press conference,
Yeah,
which is trolling
That's
those
like
guys.
the most easy thing to do, but he's not like a Twitter troll like Mikhail will troll people.
Mikhail definitely knows, and he gets a kick
Yeah,
out of
Mikhail,
it for sure.
but the liking a Dallas tweet, when you consider what just happened at the hands of Dallas, is very bizarre.
That's what I'm saying. Is
to
I think he
me.
wants
Like,
out.
I think he's heard that they're going to move him. It would not shock me if he had some conversation. They were like, one way or another, we're moving you before the start of the season.
But see, that still doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because as much as other teams would like Jay Crowder, they like him probably as a complementary piece or a supplementary piece, not like somebody that you're going to give up actual assets for. Like, what are the Suns going to get out of a Jay Crowder trade? I don't, unless you're including him as a piece of something bigger where the Suns are getting the most prized piece coming back. I just don't feel like a lot of teams are going to give you what you need to contend for a title next year for a 30, what is he, 33?
You're not getting a
34?
first rounder for him.
No. So, like, what
Who
are you,
cares about
why
draft
move
picks?
him?
Nobody. We're not going to use them anyways.
No, if
for
you're
Phoenix.
going to use him to leverage to try and get KD is the only reason
Well,
why you would trade him
There's other
for
pieces.
nothing of value in return.
I mean, maybe it's salary filler for something with Utah, or
It-
there's
right.
He's salary filler is what I think.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, and I don't think they would tell him, like, one way or another, we're moving you this offseason.
Yeah,
I
that
think it would
doesn't seem
be-
like a logical conversation
you know,
they would have.
here's probably the more logical thing. They said to him, Cam's likely going to be our starter. And that's the change he references. And then he's also,
That could
thinking about his future as well.
That could be possible. I mean,
Like that seems like more of something they may tell a guy in the offseason.
I guess my thought, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm trying to remove ego from the situation, but I'm like, if I'm Jay Crowder, it's not like, I love Jay. I think what he brings to the team is very valuable, but he's no Devin Booker. He's no Chris Paul. He's no Kevin Durant, right? He's a valuable piece, but he's not the piece.
Yeah, but
so, and he's towards the end of his career too. So like, do you really think he's going to be that pissed about coming off the bench instead of starting next year?
Yes, it's an ego. You can't take ego out when you're talking about professional athletes.
I mean, this is
like,
true.
They grew up in a world where they were told they were the best since they were little kids. They come up through an AAU system. They're the best in their high school. They're the best at their college.
But he's also been in the NBA for a long time, and he's seen a lot of people who are better than him.
Yeah, but he goes, look, we made the finals. I was the starter. We had the best record in the NBA. I was the starter. Like I could see where that would piss a guy off. You don't want to admit that you're regressing, that you're going backwards, that you're going to be coming off the bench for a 26-year-old. Like that's the stuff that it's tough to come to grips with in your career.
Right. And I think Hello said it best. Jay has that dog in him. He wants to start. Like talking to Jay Crowder over the last few years, he's definitely a guy who takes a lot of pride in the care that he's taken of his body, of where his game is still at this point in his career. And he is a starting caliber player. I do think the Suns might be at the point where you start Cam Johnson to mix things up a little bit, see what you have there, put Cam and McHale in different spots than you did last year. But I think it's something that he's a team player. Like this is not a situation where I think he would be mad the whole season if he's not starting. No. But I do think it, like you're saying, it is an adjustment if you're told up front, like the first couple of weeks, it might take some time to wrap your head around that and what your new role might be.
I would find it kind of surprising if it happened right now. Like you're still like 2 months away from training camp. Why even broach that subject? As a coach, listen, it either came from Monty or it came from James. It wouldn't come anywhere else. And those two don't like conflict in the least. So why create it in the middle of an offseason unless you're trying to gauge his interest on wanting to get out of here, or you're trying to gauge other interest around the league in trying to trade him. Like him being unhappy maybe plays to your advantage and puts it out there that he's available for trade because he doesn't want to be here anymore.
Well,
I don't know.
It also, if they don't like confrontation, it's better to tell him way before training camp so it's not a distraction, because last thing you want is to tell a guy a week before training camp you're not going to be our starter, or in training camp, and then have him pissed off then too, especially if you're getting prepared to potentially pay Cam if a KD trade doesn't happen. I mean, you're going to have to name him the starter if you give him the kind of money that you expect to give him.
I don't think it matters if you tell him now or if you tell him then. He could have 7 weeks to sit here and stew on this, and then you get to training camp and maybe you think he's dealt with those emotions. The first time they step on the court and he feels like he's better than Cam, it's going to come right back up. So I don't think that really matters.
Can you put his original tweet back up, Shane? So, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. I believe it's time for a change. I want to continue growing. I think could be, maybe it's not the negative. Maybe it is, I know I'm now a bench guy in this league and I'm going to do what I can to support it. I don't know that this is we're reading tea leaves.
Right.
I don't know that this is necessarily a negative in what he's saying. Again, he could have been broken up with. He could be changing who he's dating. Or
I think we went negative because of the liked tweet.
The liked tweets is what made this negative. And also, I mean, like, it's funny because there's people in the chat that are like, F you, Jay. I'm like, whoa. I mean,
the picture on his website is also Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not a new journey lies ahead. It could just be another business endeavor, right? Like
he could be anything.
Expanding his clothing line.
He could have driven to the gym a different way today. Like,
it just, we're speculating.
He could be coming out with Jay Crowder hats. Like we don't know what it could be.
He did have a huge discount sale on his website. None of that stuff is still there. So read what you want into that too.
Yeah, he's dropping a whole new brand, a whole new launch. Like,
Jay, if you want to get into the merch game at another level, buddy, I mean,
give us
just
a call.
Call
Saul's
us,
DMs are open
all the time.
Hello said being a Suns fan is being negative, so That's our past trauma coming back out,
He's
always
not-
reverting to the
No,
negative.
he's really not.
Especially when we're bored in August.
They're like, oh, it's another Eric Bledsoe, and this.
I don't know that I would go as far as that.
Nothing will ever compare to that, I don't think. At least I hope not.
I still believe he was at the hair salon with his wife.
Oh, man.
So this is something, and we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll definitely check on Jay's like tweets tomorrow before the show and
This
bring
is
you
what-
anything that's updated from then.
This is what our life has come to. We're checking like tweets.
All right, our next AZ Health screenshot. This is a tweet that shared a video of Mike James on a podcast talking about KD and the playoffs last season. Now, the tweet was captioned, quote, Kevin Durant called Mike James before the NBA playoffs started and told him the Nets were cooked. Wow, end quote. But the words seem a little bit different. So let's listen to the video and see if you guys think that that was what he said.
With us about your relationship with Kevin Durant.
When I got to the Nets, I think I only really knew Blake before I got there. Kev was one of the reasons, one of the people that vouched for me to come to Brooklyn for Brooklyn to sign me. So when I got signed and we was going on the road, we just like a lot of the same stuff. So we ended up just hanging out with each other every time on the road. Like, he got the big suite, so we'll just go in there, hang out, kick it, play the game, talk. So we just got close. And then after that, when I went back overseas, it was just like, all right, whoever season in first, the other one gonna come to watch the playoffs. When I first said it, I thought, okay, you're gonna be in the finals. I'm gonna get to go to the finals. That's lit.
Right.
So when they was trash and they was losing, I called him one day. I was like, all right, so you know what this means, right? You're gonna come to my playoff game. He was like, there's no way I'm coming to your playoff game. And then a week later, he called me before the playoffs started. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be there in a couple of weeks, dog. We finna lose.
But I had so many questions.
But I'm
Did
sure.
he fly private?
You know what? He flew private back. He didn't fly private there because it was too expensive, and he was.
So I feel like the caption of the tweet was obviously to grab people's attention and get them to listen. But I don't know that he fully said that the Nets were cooked within that soundbite.
Anybody that watched the Nets knew that he was going to have a quick out in that playoffs. Are we supposed to act like Kevin Durant couldn't see that coming either? Come on. And he was talking to his buddy, joking around, I'm sure. All I got out of that was Sun's great Mike James likes to smoke weed because he wants to hang out with Kevin Durant that much. You got to read between the lines here is what I'm guessing. So
I didn't take it that way. I didn't feel like that's what he was saying at all. I felt like he was just saying, yeah, I'm going to be up there soon. I didn't feel like he was admitting that they were going to lose. They damn near won game one against Boston. If they win game one against Boston, maybe that series changes. They should have won game one against Boston. But, I digress. I didn't really get that from that. Definitely not from the tweet.
I mean, if he was calling Mike James saying all right, yeah, I'll probably end up being up there, he was at least jokingly acknowledging that they're probably not going to make a deep playoff run. So I think it's just a funny thing between friends, but I don't read too much into it. But it did sound like he was basically saying, yeah, we're not going to go very far this year.
Which I don't think is too crazy of a thing to say. If you're somebody who's as good of a basketball player as Kevin Durant is, he probably understands the situation he's in. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's probably going to try his hardest to get them out of that situation. But sometimes, look at Devin early on in his career. There's only so much you can do. If you don't have the pieces around you, or there's something going on behind the scenes that's making it more difficult, there's only so much that one person can do.
And players know too if they got a championship team or if they don't, right? You can tell it long before when you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it goes team by team, because I think there's other teams that maybe don't have as much talent, but fundamentally speaking and effort wise, they're on a whole nother level. So you got a bunch of dogs with you, you got a chance. The Nets did not have that, not even in the slightest. And KD didn't even play that well in that round either. He was kind of hot trash for KD standards as well. So yeah, he probably was like, yeah, we're cooked.
Yeah.
So something, nothing, or everything.
I say nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Something.
Something.
Yeah, I'll say something.
You think Katie's calling, going, Mike, I know you're going to do some podcasts. Why don't we let this stuff out?
I don't know. I'm
so
not
we
taking
can
it
get me
that far.
out of Brooklyn.
I'm
that
not
would be
taking it that far.
everything. There was something going on in Brooklyn that Kevin Durant wasn't stoked about. He
Right.
saw the writing on the wall, and maybe that is also a portion of why he wants to leave and go to Phoenix.
That
Yeah,
something
it
is
just-
Steve Nash.
It just reinforces what we already know, that he wants out because he's smart enough to look at his surroundings and be like, okay, I don't think I'm going to win a title here. I might as well go to Phoenix where I will have a chance to do that.
Can you imagine? I mean, this is a good point. Hello said if DA said that before Game 7, crazy fans would be furious. Could you imagine if? Oh my God! We reacted so hardcore about him playing fucking video games till 2:00 in the morning. If he said, "Oh, I knew we were cooked against Dallas as soon as that game started," like people would lose their shit.
And rightfully so. They were a 64-win team. The Nets were garbage all season.
if
That would be a big different story.
If Tyler Eulis is on this podcast tomorrow, or some rando guy that played for the Suns, and he's like, yeah, DA called me the night before Game 7 and said 7 of our guys have COVID, and I don't think we're going to be able to win. He still would get roasted,
Yeah,
even if it was like
absolutely.
factually true.
1,000,000%.
Like,
So
he
not
didn't
rightfully
believe.
so, Gerald.
Yes, rightfully so. It's a different scenario from what he just said is a totally different scenario from what it was.
Whoa. Okay, here
It's
we
a totally
go.
different
Here we
scenario
go.
from what you painted.
Happy
So
Monday.
knowing what we know about the Suns and potentially Chris Paul having COVID, if DA knew Chris Paul had COVID and the way they were playing that entire series with Chris Paul having COVID and him saying, yeah, I knew we were going to get cooked before that game because Chris Paul was basically not Chris Paul. Like, would you really shit on DA for that?
No, I was saying rightfully so to the scenario you presented, not the bullshit one he just came up with.
No, but then we
fucking
but I
sowing
said-
seeds of chaos that have nothing to do with what we were talking about
No, but then
originally.
I said, yeah, and then you were like, no, yeah, rightfully so. I was like, wait, what?
No,
What?
rightfully so to yours, not to his.
Rightfully so to the Kevin Durant and Brooklyn situation.
But in
If
my scenario,
KD and DA were swapped in that scenario, yes.
He's just laughing his ass
But in
off.
my,
He's a joker
but in
over
my
here.
scenario, in my scenario, like if DA was to say after the first quarter, like he told somebody like, oh, I knew we were going to lose after the first quarter. Like they were down by like what 25 in the first quarter. Like,
But again, that's a different scenario than the one that I said rightfully so to.
Hold on, Gerald. Are you new to the show?
This man is lobbing
always where I
joker
come
grenades
from.
on the whole show and just laughing his ass off.
We're
Yeah.
just playing in a land of stupid hypotheticals today.
Right, but
like
that's-
everything is. We read Jay
Yeah,
Crowder's tweet.
But
and
the
thought he was trying to
hypotheticals
burn
were
down a
different.
house.
They were two
Right, and
different.
that's totally fine.
Two different
I
answers.
got
to
confused
Gerald.
about the hypothetical that he said
No,
that
not
you
to
agreed
his.
with, and I was like, wait, what? If
no.
7 dudes had COVID
No.
and DA said I knew we were cooked, you would have a problem with that? What? Yeah, that's why I lost it.
No, I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I know that people would blow up,
Oh,
and
I
that
know.
wouldn't be rightfully so. But the scenario you painted, if he like said before Game 7, like,
I knew we were
I think we're
cooked. Yeah,
cooked.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
sure.
different thing.
Oh yeah.
That's all I was saying.
All right. Our next Daisy House screenshot. This one's a less dramatic one.
You think?
Well, I would hope. I don't know how this could be dramatic. Devin Booker and Book Projects have
Oh, this is
designed
terrible. No, I'm
a
kidding.
custom pill speaker inspired by the Sonoran Desert.
It's got a black bee on it. He's saying he wants to go to Brooklyn. He's saying it through a speaker.
But there's a P on it, so maybe that's saying he wants to stay in Phoenix.
Maybe.
You guys with your
Maybe
B's and
it's
P's.
Brooklyn to Phoenix because it's BEP.
Oh, maybe
Oh, we
it's
cracked
Katie.
it.
Now look at that.
Confirm it
He's
right now.
he's sending messages that Katie's on the way. Or it's
Wait,
a
can I see that
Oh
again,
my
Shane?
God.
or it's a Beats pill, and that's why it has a BP on it.
I like the Brooklyn to Phoenix thing better.
You just saw the BNP?
I couldn't make out because it's so dark on the side. I was like, "What is that? A P?"
It kind of looks like it could be two B's, but it's a B and a P. One on
Could be
each
Booker
side.
Project too.
Well, I think that's why
That's
it's
what it
such
was.
a
I think it
good.
was.
well, it's a
Booker
Beats pill
Project.
too.
I think that's
so-
why it's such a good collaboration. Is because it works for both parties involved.
Yeah. You know it's bad when Shane is sighing behind the computer.
Yeah, it's not the greatest concept in the world.
I
Well,
like it.
Would you get one or not?
I mean,
Not for the
I'm
price,
a broke
though.
boy, so no. But like, they're
It was
expensive,
BP,
man.
not BB.
They're
Okay,
expensive, broke boy. I'll do my own
We can
rendition.
get you that cheap
Sharpie
speaker.
on
Take a Sharpie and finish off the P.
Broke boy.
He's gonna go buy one of those $5 Bluetooths at Target and just write BB on it.
With a Sharpie.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna do. Like the Booker fanboys are probably gonna buy it, but I don't think I would.
Just give me the signature shoe already. I don't need a Bluetooth speaker. I just want the damn shoe.
That's what
He already has a
everyone's
signature
waiting
shoe.
for.
Not the Moss Point shoe
those are
is
fucking
not.
fly, dude.
They are, but I want a basketball shoe. Give me something you can wear on the court.
Are you going to wear it on the court?
No, I'm gonna wear it on the show.
His court. This is his court.
I
got you.
I was gonna drop 160 on those Barkley retro Air Max 94s that they dropped, and the missus was like, "You look like an idiot in those." And I was like, "Yes, I would. I'm not gonna drop 160 bucks on
But
that."
does it make you happy? Because that's all
I
that
don't think it
matters.
would because I
Okay,
think
well,
I
then
just
don't
find
do
the
it.
shoes
Don't do it.
annoying eventually.
That's what you know what we need to do. This is what we need to do.
You need to buy me a pair of Barkley.
No,
sure.
we need to go shopping,
Bastard.
and we need to hook up Espo the right way.
What?
We do because if you're gonna wear those shoes, then you need the whole get up.
Nobody wants to see me dressed in the whole get up.
No, he's
There
not
you go.
talking about a uniform.
No, I'm saying whatever the whole get up is that makes me look right in those shoes, I'm not going to look cool in it. We already know this.
Oh,
See,
I kind
your
of.
self-deprecating
Have
ways.
some
just-
confidence, Espo.
Absolutely,
I'm here for the
Have some
makeover
confidence.
sequence.
Right? 3 out of 4 of us.
If
You know what?
if
You know
it's
what?
on the
How about
company's
this?
dime,
How about this?
I'll do the
Here it is
makeover.
right here. Here you go, Shane. You're going to like this. The next time I have to face you in Southwest Bias, that's the deal for me, is that I get to do a makeover on
Why
you.
don't you just that can be the punishment now if you want to make it that punishment for losing.
Yeah, but
I'm fine with that.
I can't pull it off before Thursday. It takes a lot of work to make you
Then
over,
we postpone me to do it next week. As long as the company's paying, I don't care. If I'm not paying for the outfit, I'll wear whatever the hell you want within reason. I saw that face.
Rick
That's a
said
good
Espo
caveat.
as a hype beast would be hilarious. I don't know that we're going to go that far, Rick, because we're not
Why
trying
not?
to.
Let's go all in.
We're
Hype
being
beast Espo
somewhat
coming
legitimate, right? Like trying to find you an outfit that looks good with those type of shoes.
soon. You can be whatever you want.
I'm
Well,
excited.
okay. Are you going to do it, Saul?
The next time we do Southwest Bias, then I win.
I love that you're just assuming I'm going to lose the next time we go head to head.
Dude, I destroyed you last time,
No,
bro.
you didn't.
It was
didn't.
85-15. What do you mean I didn't?
Because there were a lot of people that didn't know what they were talking about.
Is it because
wasn't my
Saul had
fault.
his bots in the chat?
Yeah, it wasn't my fault.
Oh my gosh. It
I
wasn't
mean,
my
just-
fault.
Just because
Literally
just
was
because
your
you
fault.
had your whole family come in and vote. Like
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like
I
our
literally have
voters.
2 people.
I feel like our voters
The kids are in
generally.
school.
Our voters generally know what they're talking about because I won our
Shut
logo
it, Gerald.
draft.
Oh, see?
Got 'em.
I mean, it's true.
Shane, shut
Because
up.
if I had bots, I would have done much better in that poll, but I came
don't
in
have
dead
bots.
last. So clearly it wasn't that.
Gerald
No.
has bots.
That was our most competitive
Hey,
poll, though.
rigged.
Charles Woodall Pike, I voted for Espo. It was rigged. You're right. That's why you're one of our best viewers
Listen,
ever.
one thing we're not going to do here is fucking defraud the vote.
Yes,
Okay,
we're not stopping
We're not
the steal.
going to do that here.
We're not
I'm
stopping
so
the
sick of that shit in real life. We're not going to do it here on this fucking show.
So-
I'm going to tell you that right now.
So I should cancel the Cyber Ninjas.
Oh my god!
I used our budget for this month on that. I should cancel that.
So back to
Lindsay's
Twitter.
low key mad about that poll because she
I
lost
am,
by
but we're gonna go back to Twitter
0.3%.
because you beat me by 0.3%. It's fine. Out of all of ours, I liked yours second best to mine, of course.
thank
So
you.
that's okay. But I still am
Screw
really
you,
upset.
Lindsay.
I'm still really upset because I felt like I had a solid lineup, and
So
it
I
hurt
shouldn't
my
have voted
feelings a
for
little
Gerald
bit.
from the PHNX Suns account.
There's no way you did
Oops.
that.
He
I know you
probably
did not.
He probably voted for
I
himself.
saw
We
the
should go
tie.
on to
I
let's
saw
go
that
on
he
to
votes
it
for
and
himself
see.
because he always starts off these polls in the lead.
This is true.
For the first like
This is
15 to
true.
20 votes.
Espo may not have bots, but he's got at least 3 or 4 burners.
I was in second place for like a hot minute. And
You
then
were.
It just all fell apart.
Then people took a closer look. and were like,
I knew exactly when it happened. When she tweeted,
Oh yeah.
and I'm not saying that you have fans.
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
fans.
yeah.
But as soon as she tweeted, I saw Lindsay Smith tweeted, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
"Hello, darkness."
It's over.
I knew I had no shot at that moment.
Okay, there was another really fun thing that happened on Twitter. We're out of the screenshots now, but we're just talking about things that happened on Twitter over the last 72 hours or so. our friend Derek. He is the host of the PHNX D-backs podcast. He's on vacation right now. He's in Disneyland, right?
I'm going this Saturday.
No.
Let's go.
He
You're
actually,
going too?
Hell yeah.
Shane's going.
I know.
Are you guys going together?
No.
Oh,
he
I'm
actually
going Saturday and Sunday.
he actually wasn't at Disneyland. He was just on OGs and thought he was at Disneyland.
I mean,
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
I don't know, but this was hilarious. He posted a picture of him on a roller coaster with the biggest, cheesiest smile on his face. He is living life. And OG's Brands retweeted it on Twitter with the hashtag powered by OGs. And if this doesn't convince you to try out some OGs, if you are kind of curious, as everyone here likes to call it, I don't know what else will, because Derek's face is pure joy.
Let's be honest. They could put hashtag powered by OGs on all of Derek's tweets, and 95% of the time they'd be right.
This is true. But this
That's
picture,
not a bad thing.
This picture is fantastic. And I also have some really cool and exciting things to tell you guys about OGs. So it's free stuff season.
Oh.
We've got a Flavoring Life sweepstakes that we have going on right now with PHNX and OGs.
So you're telling me we have two giveaways
We
every
have
month?
2 giveaways.
One with 4 Peaks and now one with OGs?
Yes, and you can
Say it
enter
ain't
both
so.
of them. So one winner of the Flavoring Life sweepstakes will receive 3 bags of OGs, including the orange creamsicle flavor and tropical flavors, an OG's hat, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership.
Damn.
So this is a solid giveaway that you guys are going to want to get in on. Make sure that you go to gophnx.com or click the link in our show notes to enter this sweepstake and for your chance to win all of this amazing stuff. In the meantime, highly recommend you check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com or on Instagram at ogsbrands. And also, if you don't want to wait for the giveaway to dabble or restock whichever one, you can also find their products at your local dispensary. But just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to purchase.
You had me at 3 bags of OGs.
I mean, it's like, these are really solid giveaways. I'm pretty stoked. Should we just tell everybody about the other giveaway that while you're already at gophnx.com, you should sign up for?
Yes,
1,000,000%.
let's do another one.
So this
Give it away.
This one is PHNX and 4 Peaks. So we did our Toast of the Month last month. That was the first time we launched this sweepstakes with 4 Peaks. It continues into this month. And when you enter into this one, you get an opportunity to potentially win $50 4 Peaks gift card, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. Again, go phnx.com or click the link in our show notes to enter that. And this one, just a reminder, you have to be 21 or older to enjoy the beer, and we ask that you enjoy responsibly, but the gift card works for food and merch and everything else over at the 4 Peaks Brewery, and the whole family is welcome to go down there and enjoy the vibes.
We're like Chris Paul. We're getting you the bag. We're assisting you and getting you all this great stuff. So
Except we're not going to make you fucking dance for it. We're gonna give it to you because I said we're gonna give it to you, and that's what's gonna happen. Like shout out to our guy Max, who's been working behind the scenes to make stuff happen like this. And again, I even tweeted a thread today about a lot of this community stuff. Is that like everything that we do, we essentially try to do it for you. Like the only thing we ask in return is your support. Really, that's it. Like it's as simple as that. It's been phenomenal. Our relationship with all of our sponsors have been phenomenal. They've been awesome. And we continue to try and cultivate those relationships around the valley because we want to give you a community to be able to enjoy yourself. And OGs and 4 Peaks, you can't go wrong in enjoying yourself with that stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to sign an offer sheet with some cannabis company in Indiana or some bar in Indiana. We're just going to give you the goods. That's how it works here.
Well, it was a fun show. It was a little less spicy than last Monday's show, which is a good start to the week. And I'm very happy about
What
that.
happened last Monday?
Eli has a great idea. New PHNX shirt. It just says, unleash your inner Chelsea.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Is Chelsea like the new Karen?
no. Oh, no.
It's the PHNX Karen.
Lord have mercy. Chelsea, I don't know if Chelsea's going to come out in a while. It took like what are we almost a whole entire year into this thing? Is the first time she really like reared her
no,
ugly
she's
head?
come out before. We just didn't know who she was. And now that we know who she is, we can identify her a little easier. And so listen, you can't control when Chelsea comes. She just is going to show up whenever she wants to.
This is true. It is 100%.
That should be your Halloween costume, is
a Chelsea. I don't even know what that would look like, to be completely honest with you. It just looked like me on every other day.
Just be angry.
I don't know. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you as always. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, 2 p.m. right here on our YouTube channel. On your way out, be sure to hit that thumbs up because it really helps us out and we appreciate it. But until tomorrow, you can follow me on Twitter at LindsaySmithAZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Don't spend too much time looking at Jay Crowder's tweets and trying to figure him out tonight. Go enjoy life. Ahoy, hoy. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G, no plan B. Always on the job, my team move like the mob, turn the beat.